to. So welcome to everybody for this session. And today we have, well, one of an old, you'll know what the real topic is as soon as we start talking about it, but we are going to approach it from the point of view of why do we even want to change the narrative? I keep telling you people, change your story, change your story. And today, why is it that we should change any story that we are saying to ourselves? So here it is, the kind of self-talk that we normally do for ourselves. And it's always when we pay attention to the self-talk, we will find there is so much judgment involved in our self-talk to ourselves. We interact with people, and the first thing as we interact with people, the most common thing that we do is we go in there with a frequency of mistrust. If we don't know somebody, if it's somebody who wants to give us something, I face this all the time. It is so beautiful that I sit and I do these 30-day webinars, the 30-day Expect Miracles program. And so many people come there. And in the program, exactly what I say over here, in the program also, I tell people, come into Meenal frequency, do this, and then you will find so much of amazing answers coming to you. And the first thing that many people will do is approach it with mistrust. I was in Delhi last week, and somebody said, yeah, but it's normal to think of something with mistrust, right? It's normal that when we meet somebody new and that somebody sounds very strange, that we will mistrust them, that somebody wants to give us something without without wanting something in return. If somebody is just saying, I'm going to give you so much stuff, then you are going to treat with mistrust, right? And I just thought, and I also told it to them, I said, it's not that it's normal. It's normal for those who are sitting in the frequency of mistrust. For them, the first answer will come from mistrust only. Sometimes when I tell people take my frequency, they are more than willing to be able to try it. They are not sitting in the frequency of mistrust. They are sitting in the frequency of trust. So wherever you are sitting, only you can tell whether you will have a problem taking that frequency, saying that I am Meenal, whether you will have a problem with that or not. It's not normal to sit in fear of the frequency. It's not normal to sit in mistrust. And on the other hand, it is very normal to sit in fear. It is very normal to sit in mistrust. All of it has simply to do with what frequency you are resonating at, what frequency, what vibration are you at. From that place, the normal for you is decided. And so here are the stories. So just as I was in Delhi for the last few days, and I was going around meeting with people, somebody brought up this story about how whatever job that they are looking for, and they're looking for a permanent job for whatever reason, they're looking for permanency. Though I've pointed it out 100 times to them that there is nothing called permanent. Your breath itself is not permanent. What is it that you will receive from a permanent job that you are not receiving right now? You're right now receiving fear, anxiety, worry. You will receive the exact same, whether the job is permanent or temporary or no job at all. If you are sitting in worry, fear, you will keep receiving the same, no matter what the story outside looks like. Your frequency will keep asking for more of the same. However, their story was this, that, there is so much of bribing, there is so much of corruption that no matter what they want, they cannot get it. They won't get it. They won't get it because all these other people who are able to pay and wanting to pay will get it. She said, I'm still, I have the money, but I don't want to pay because this corruption, this bribery, I am against this. The only thing that I said in all of this was, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful that there can be bribery and corruption? Now, I'm not this I wasn't this person just a few years ago. I was pretty much the same person that as that woman that I'm talking about, the one who was talking about that permanent job. I was pretty much the same person. I couldn't stand even, I couldn't even go to temples, because in temples, there would be a bribe being offered to the Pandit for me to be able to do darshan in a rush. So I could offer a bribe and get a quicker darshan, and everybody else would have to stand in lines. And I used to think to myself, what a sad state of affairs that even in the name of God, even for getting darshan of God, one has to be in a high enough position, or one has to have enough money to have the darshan of that God that we are going out to look at. Anyways, a few years down the road, as I understand that everything outside is simply a reflection of my frequencies. This time around, when I went to Kedarnath, I went to Kedar, there was a line of probably a few hours over there. And as I looked at the line, and I was like, okay, let's go stand in the line. And then the fellow who was helping me, move around, and the pittu, he was walking with me, he was carrying my stuff and everything. So that he suggested that, what, there are these special pujas that are done inside, and if you pay for that special puja, then the Pandit will get you in immediately. The older Meenal would have immediately rejected the idea because, oh my God, so much money has to go. For whatever reason, why is it that in the name of God, so much money has to go to the Pandit? I would have rejected it. However, the new person that I am, I simply took it that this is the way to provide me grace. This too, the Pandit with the special offering of a puja, with taking me inside and getting the puja done in no time at all of this is a matter of grace as well. I was able to do so easily. Why? Because over the last few years, I have worked on the programs of money itself. Money, I've understood in this journey of mine, that money is the most amazing tool that can keep creating more and more emotions for us. We can experience the entire plethora of emotions just with money as the tool. Money comes without any reason. Now we look at it either suspiciously or we're in a lot of joy. It depends on who we are in that moment. Money goes, we can look at it so suspiciously, look at it like with so much regret, so much sadness, or we can also be giving it as a gift and feeling so joyful about it. Every place that the money is involved, we are bound to create emotions when we are unaware. When we become aware, money simply becomes a tool, and we are able to watch that whether we are creating any emotions or not. Okay, whoever is, Anna, please, I'm muting you. Please stay muted. Okay, whoever Anna is. All right. So wherever where was I with the topic of money? So wherever we sit, in whatever frequencies we sit, as soon as money exchanges hands, something that we do on a daily basis, pay bills. We pay bills. And how many times, oh my God, there are so many bills again. Every month on month, there are bills and bills and bills. And what are our emotions when we even look at the bills that we have to pay on a weekly, monthly basis? What are the emotions when the money is going out? What are the emotions when there is no money to pay those bills? What are the emotions? Those are the emotions that are creating the stories of money outside. Money is not creating the story. Our emotions are creating the stories with money as a tool for it. So as I looked at this scenario where in Kedarnath, now I could pay for a special puja and be able to walk through and to be able to go without waiting. Everything was so easy because now I don't look at money coming and money going. I just simply look at it as a tool for giving me grace, as a tool that's going to help me ease my journey. And so when I have the money, many a times I don't have the money for whatever is needed. And that too, the stories we will talk about later. However, At this point in time, when I was outside Kedar, I simply just bowed my head in gratitude, saying, thank you so much for giving me this, this much money that I can go into the temple and not have to wait. And not have to wait. So I have this much money, and that is pure grace itself. So I was able to recognize in this give and take, and with a lot of gratitude, I paid the Pandit the money. The earlier Meenal, if she was forced to, if she didn't have time, she would have paid, but with so much of energies of resentment inside, I would have paid that money to the Pandit. But this time, purely just saying, I recognize the ease and grace that this money is providing to me. I pay the money to the Pandit. And I thank the Pandit for being here. I thank the Pandit for this product he has created so that I can be in ease and grace. What did I just do over here? The earlier Meenal had a story, and the new Meenal has a story. What did I do? I shifted the narrative. I would have done exactly the same thing, no matter which energy I sat in. Maybe I would have done exactly the same thing and paid. The money would have exchanged hands. However, the energy that I put in behind the money this time was that of gratitude, and the other time it would have been of anger, resentment. So why is it that I want you know the answer by now already? Whatever it is that we are going to be living in, whatever frequency we are dialing into again and again, well, that's the frequency that's going to be vibrating back at us. The universe, a mere reflection of all that we are, and every now and then, the universe will simply reflect back at us our own energy. And this was, the topic itself for today. So I was talking about the Kedar trip, which happened a few days ago. However, the topic for today itself, it happened in a very funny circumstance. I normally these days just pick up something that's been happening over the week. I either talk about it, or as today is, it's become a topic. We, as I've already talked about this scenario for the last 2 or 3 months, that, we are moving our house. And as we are moving the house, this house that I've been living in on rent for the past 14, 15 years, now I'm going to be moving to another house. And the house that came up has just been really, really beautiful. The entire story around it, and how the pricing didn't match for me, but the universe created a beautiful story around me to make sure that I receive that house. Now, I get the house organized. I know that's the house I want to go into, and all of that stuff. And now starts all of the paperwork, which needs to be done by my husband and the husband's company and all of that. It's going to be a rented house. So all of the paperwork is coming along. Over the last 2 weeks, as the paperwork is getting done, there's a lot of mistrust that's floating between the landlord and Sudhanshu. There's a lot of mistrust, and in the agreements, no matter what we sign up for, the landlord comes up with 2 or more, conditions, and that's out of the ordinary. That's almost like, he's paranoid, and then he's putting out conditions and conditions from paranoia. So when we were talking about this, Sudhanshu and I were discussing about this, and Sudhanshu said, I've never met somebody who was so paranoid, and he keeps putting these conditions out there. I'm mostly agreeing to everything. It doesn't matter. However, these are just really, these are just really strange conditions. And I looked at it and I said, yeah, okay, things are happening. And then suddenly a couple of other conditions came up just 3 days ago while I was in Delhi. Some conditions came up, and now that got Sudhanshu really, really angry. It's like, I don't know what this man is up to. This man is just really difficult to deal with, something or the other. And he's got, something in his head saying, why is he putting up all of these conditions? And I said, we can be in gratitude for whatever is happening. And this house that we are getting, we can just sit and look at it and say that it's such a wonderful thing that we are getting a house which was so much more expensive. At which point Sudhanshu said, well, I don't think he's getting a tenant for that price, right? If we would have got a tenant for that price, he wouldn't have given it to us. And I said, in this point, and this is where the beauty of being able to change the story is, and being able to come into oneness is. I said, I understand why that person is not going to get something right now that he wanted. His consideration is that instead of zero, he is going to get some rent. He thinks of himself as a winner. I'm getting something that I really didn't think I would get. I think of myself as a winner. When we work in oneness, when I am sitting in oneness and my energy is of oneness, and I do a transaction with somebody sitting in that oneness, there is not going to be a loser and a winner. There's going to be a winner and a winner, because there is no separation in this place. I'm thankful to the universe for whatever I'm receiving, and that thankfulness towards him, that energy of gratitude, he will simply just be reflecting more of that back at me, and probably he will be thankful too. However, I've signed out from this story, and the only energies that are being reflected back and forth are those of mistrust from one place to the other. And this is how it happens. When somebody mistrusts us, that energy that they hold, the energy that they are holding comes at us. We are unaware. We do have the same frequencies within our energy field. And when we are unaware, we just tune into that. It's the easiest thing to do. There is a whole, package of mistrust coming towards you, and you are not really asking yourself the question, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing? And you simply will tune into the mistrust frequency. This is how our life always works out when we are unaware. Whatever is the frequency around us, we tune into that. We simply tune into that. And so in a day, we tune into 10 frequencies. We are not even aware which frequencies we tuned into. And life just simply keeps moving. As we become more and more aware, when from the outside, mistrust frequency comes, our first reaction is that of mistrust. As we mistrust, however, now we are aware. We spend a lot of time looking within, taking guidances. And as we are aware, what happens next? The next thing that happens is we become aware of, what am I feeling? Okay, there was mistrust from that side, but what did I tune into? Did I tune into mistrust? That means I hold the mistrust frequency. Let me release that and let me move into another frequency, maybe of gratitude, maybe of joy, maybe masti, maybe love. I hold that power to make my experience shift. Irrespective of the stories happening outside, that outside story, we stop paying attention to when the finger comes within. And with this, when the finger comes within, we find something to be grateful about. We find something or the other in the story. And that's what I remind you each time, right? If somebody outside is creating mistrust for you, it's not that they are creating mistrust for you. It means that you must be vibrating at the mistrust frequency. So simply be thankful for them, that they reflected back at you the frequency that you are holding as well. What they are holding is their story. However, when we are aware, we can put the finger back within. And when we do so, what are we able to do? We are able to come to thankfulness. With coming to thankfulness, we are able to say, okay, thank you for showing me what is it that I am holding. Thank you for showing me that I'm sitting in mistrust too. You're sitting in wherever you need to sit as part of your journey, but I can change my frequency. And from that awareness, the frequency changes to something lighter, more easier, more beautiful, because these are the frequencies of the heart. When you are able to come to gratitude, when you're able to come to joy, peacefulness, because your finger moved within, now the frequency are all of the heart. The frequencies belong to oneness and not from separation. So each time, even when I'm telling you, many of the people, when you ask me, like, how can I be thankful to somebody for this and for that? And I say to you, you're not being thankful to them for saying this or for doing that or for ruining your life. You are being thankful to them because they showed you what your energy field holds. Now that they showed you what your energy field holds, you can shift it because you are aware. You have the tools for shifting it and you can shift it. And so from that space, what have you actually done? You've changed the story. The story that you were telling yourself earlier was this: oh, that person did this, that person did that, that person is an idiot, that person is so bad, why are they in my life, etc., etc. These are the stories that you are telling yourself. This is the kind of self-talk that you're having with yourself. Outside the finger is with blame. This person did that to me, that person is not behaving properly, that person is so rude to me. It's all about them. But when we become aware and the finger comes with it, the story changes. The story now becomes, oh, I'm holding these frequencies. Wow, it's my frequency that's creating this. So can I change the frequency so that I can create more of something else? And of course, the answer to that is yes. The minute you become aware, you can change your story. You can change it to whatever frequency you want. The story that you have changed to, just stay centered in that new story. And here is the answer, because when we stay centered, so when I told this to, continuing with the, so when I told Sudhanshu, we can be thankful, we can be this, he says, no, you just change every story. You just change every story to just suit you. That's not the reality. The reality is that that person is creating all of these problems. The reality is that he's not agreeing. His agreement looks really, so shifty and so suspicious. His demeanor is so strange. It's not like how people normally behave when they are taking on tenants. And so that's the real story. That's the truth. And so he said, that's the truth. And I said, well, I guess our truths are different. And that's how it is. The truths are always different for each person, because each person, the frequency that you are sitting in, that is what will create your truth. For me, the truth is about, oh, how much the universe is gracing me through all of these arrangements. For him, oh my God, how much the universe is troubling me through all of these arrangements. And each of us, it's not like I'm lying or he's lying, though he thinks that I'm lying. And he actually put an accusation out there saying, you just change your story to suit whatever it is that you want to believe in. And I looked at that, and then, we couldn't talk further that day. And so, we hung up. And when we hung up, again, my fingers were here within. And I said, okay, he made that accusation. Doesn't he understand it's all about energy? And so I'm simply being in the energy of gratitude. However, there was something that I said, doesn't he understand? The finger had gone to him. So instantly, as soon as the finger doesn't he understand, the finger came back to me, and I said, okay, there's something over here that I need to look at. What is it that I need to understand from this story? And so as I sat down and I was sitting in guidance and trying to take guidance, and immediately a thought came saying, well, again, I am attached to that house. Now that we are almost moving in there, now that everything is already set up, I'm again attached to the house. As I'm attached to the house, there is, as soon as you become attached to something, now there's a fear of loss. There's a fear of loss. So I'm even asking Sudhanshu to change his frequency, to come from the frequency of trust, because otherwise I have this tiny fear that, oh, I might not get this house. If the two people keep playing in mistrust, I might not get this house. What have I done over here? I've attached myself to a tiny little bit of outcome. But the outcome was there for me to see. And so instantly, as soon as I saw that I'm attached to this outcome, that now at least the house should be, the deal should be signed and we should be moving in over there. Everything is moving. The arrangements are kind of coming through or whatever. However, the agreement has not yet been signed and it's going to take its own time. And I don't have a problem with that, except that I did go ahead and get attached to that house right there in that moment. How beautiful are these attachments? And I talk about it all the time. I do so much of work on attachments. I do the work, release, and then go and let go of the attachment. And somehow, somewhere, another day, another minute, and I will just simply go through the back door, go pick up the attachment again and bring it right back to me. The work is every day. The bath is every day. And the time had come for a bath because I was able to see that I'm not able to just immediately say it's okay. It took me a minute to say, oh my God, why is the agreement not getting signed? Why are these so many problems? Are we going to get the house or not? That's where the attachment is. And so immediately I release the attachment to the house, coming back to the same place, whether I move to that new house or I don't move to the new house. I am Masti. Masti is me. Masti is within me. I will get Masti anywhere, whether that house or this house. If I don't move anywhere at all, if I continue to stay in this house, even so, there is going to be Masti every place. As soon as I did this, I was able to look into the attachment. And as soon as I was able to clear that bit of attachment, this place that I was coming from, why isn't Sudhanshu seeing that he's sitting in mistrust? And then, of course, the accusation that, you will just make whatever story you wish to make. As soon as I was able to release my attachment and come into oneness with Sudhanshu, I burst out laughing because he spoke the exact truth. There is nothing more truer than the fact that I create stories. I create stories at all times that are going to suit me. And this is what I teach at all times. Create stories that are serving you. Don't create programs and beliefs that are not serving you. Create programs and beliefs that are more serving in nature to you. And what is that? That's simply a shift in the perspective. When you are sitting in the body form, the conversation is always going to be about you and another. When you are sitting in the energy space, the conversation to yourself is always going to be about you and your energy. That's it. Only one place, one person, only you to be looked at, to be looked into. And so there is no other when you are speaking from the energy space. And I always tell people, don't look at yourself from the body space, move to the energy space. Look at yourself from the energy space where there's just you, your energies, and an outside creation that's happening as a result of your energies. Because the minute we say it's my energy, now I can shift it. Now it becomes easy for me to shift it because there's only me and I can work on myself. I can't work on 15 other people outside, but all that I need to do is to work on myself. And that's why the change of story. And I burst out laughing. I said, wow, yeah, of course, he's speaking the absolute truth. Not only do I change stories for myself, but that's the only thing that I teach people to do. Change your story, change your self-talk, come to gratitude for whatever it is that you are doing. When the finger is outside with blame, find a way to be grateful. The minute you shift to the energy space, there is automatically gratitude. Thank you for showing me what I am holding so that now I can work on it. Immediately, the shift is towards gratitude. Whenever we are doing something outside and the situation is uncomfortable, I always close my eyes. And the first thing that I tell myself is the universe is playing in my favor. What is that doing? That line itself is changing the story, because when you're looking outside and the fingers are outside, the eyes are outside, and you don't understand what's happening, why something is happening, and you are so engrossed in the story. And if you take a few minutes to just simply center yourself and repeat this line, I'm in the frequency of Meenal. I forgot that I'm in the frequency of Meenal. I'm the frequency of joy and abundance. I moved into the frequency of doubt. I moved into the frequency of mistrust. I moved somewhere. And that too is just a frequency. But now that I know that it's just a frequency, I can choose the frequency. I am the creator. As I go into this, the minute that I come to the place, the universe is playing in my favor. No matter what is happening outside, the universe is playing in my favor. What is it that I'm doing? I'm changing the story. I've just changed the story from looking outside to saying, that is not playing in my favor. I wanted that outcome. That is not happening. This is not happening. I just suddenly changed the story to whatever is happening. I don't know much, but I know this much, that whatever is happening, that the universe is playing in my favor. So the next time when we actually had a conversation, Sudhanshu and I was talking to him and I said, I'd like to tell you something. You pointed a finger at me and said, you just keep changing the story and it doesn't even make sense. And that's not the truth. And I said, yeah, you're totally right. I make up my own stories, and those are my truths at all times. I change the truth. I change the truth to constantly bring me to the frequency of joy. I change the truth constantly to bring me to the frequency of gratitude. And then I put all my focus on this new truth. I have no doubt. I don't carry that old truth with me, that, oh, that outside person is being irritating, that outside person is doing this, doing that. I just simply bring myself to my new truth and put all my focus on this new truth. And why? Because the minute I put my focus on gratitude, the minute I put my focus on bliss, that is the frequency that I am growing in my energy space. No matter what frequency I tuned into, the minute I put my focus on gratitude and I grow gratitude, not pretending to go gratitude, not pretending to be thankful, but just really thankful. And I was laughing as I told Sudhanshu, I said, let's say the deal doesn't go through tomorrow. Let's say that you are so irritated with the fellow that you say, okay, it doesn't make sense. Let's not get into all of these all of these arrangements or whatever. Let us have the deal go. I said, even then, I will not be putting my finger on you saying, what's wrong with you? You made my lovely house go away or something. I said, even then, I will change my story. I will change my truth. And my truth will be, whatever is happening, it's happening in perfection. The universe is playing in my favor. Whether I get the house or not get the house, whether I get something, don't go anywhere, whatever it is I do, this one truth I will stick to. And that's going to be my story at all times. So no matter what your story is looking like, can you come to this place of the universe is playing in my favor? Because otherwise, what is your story? If you are not at the place of that the universe is playing in my favor, then of course you're in the place of the universe is playing in their favor, but not in my favor. That bribe that somebody can give, that something that can happen, I will not get what I so deeply desire, because the universe, that holds everybody, it's going to play in their favor and not mine. If that becomes your truth, what will the universe give to you more and more of? More of these incidents where you can understand that the universe is not playing in your favor. That's your story. That's the truth. That's the self-talk that you are having every day. That's the narrative that you are telling to yourself. So sure, keep the narrative, keep the story. If the story is giving you joy, giving you pleasure. But if it's not giving you joy, if it is giving you hate and resentment, what's the point? Because who is the fate headed towards? There is no other. You think that you are giving your hate and resentment to them, but there is no other. This is simply the hate and resentment that you are carrying in your energy field, and ultimately only for yourself. Would you like to give yourself love, or would you like to give yourself hate? The choice is always going to be open to us, but the choice is only in our hands. We can make that choice only when we are aware. So when we are aware, and when you are aware, when you're aware of the story that you are telling yourself, look at it and see whether it's serving you or not. If it is serving you, it's giving you joy. If it's giving you so much of pleasure, fabulous, stay with the story. But if the story is not giving you pleasure, why not change it? Why not bring the story to a place of thankfulness? From that place, you will find that you are feeling so much more at ease. You are feeling so much more joy in this new story. As you find more and more joy in the story, maybe that which you were looking for might not come to you, but will joy come to you? Of course it will. It doesn't matter whether you get specific outcomes or you don't get specific outcomes, but the frequency of joy, if you have tuned into that, will you receive joy? 100% for sure, you will receive more joy, because that's the frequency that you are transmitting. That's the frequency that the universe will bring back to you. It's as simple as that. So as you would have understood by now, why change the narrative? Because when we come to the frequency of gratitude, and that's how to change the narrative, just simply, it's all about me and my energy. And as you change the narrative, the universe will start vibrating at this new frequency of yours. It'll give you more to be grateful about. I'm sure all of us would like that. Any questions? Let me just see if there is anybody. This color. Okay. The only message I have is a one-on-one direct message saying, oh, this color really suits me. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the compliment. It is so funny, because the earlier story I used to tell myself was pink doesn't suit me. I never bought pink. Such a silly story. And it's everywhere, because we make stories to ourselves for everything. Everything, there's a story inside my head. It is so cute that the smallest of things that we do, there are stories behind everything. Even in this conversation that I'm having with Sudhanshu, there were 5 stories altogether. A story about the landlord, a story about how I am creating stories, and those stories belonged to Sudhanshu. And then there are stories that belong to me, wherein, oh, why did he say this? And, he's assuming, he's giving me he's pointing accusatory fingers at me, a story. And so the story can only dissolve when we are able to look within to say what energy of mine is at play over here. And it's not really necessary that the story that is happening outside is directly connected. But that is why we tell you to take guidance, whatever it is, wherever the fingers. The attachment was not so visible to me, but when I sat down to journal it, when I said, okay, what is it that all of this story, that the deal is not happening nicely? And I asked Sudhanshu, I said, should I speak to the landlord? And it was, and in my head, the story that because when I speak, my frequencies of oneness, it'll get another outcome. There will be a better conversation. And immediately that itself, so there were pointers for me everywhere that now I have become attached to an outcome. Even this, that I should speak outside so that an outcome that we are looking forward to should be received by us. Even that attachment to an outcome had come to be broken. You might miss out on these. You might not even be able to catch so many of these. Let me first put all the participants on mute. Okay. You might not be able to catch all the stories, and then you might still be looking outside, and that's okay. Nothing, what I say is like, if you don't do this, that will happen and things will really go terribly wrong for you and you won't be able to understand it. Your life will be miserable if you don't if you don't look within, if you don't turn yourself to joy frequency, somebody from outside will come and show you the joy frequency, and you will tune into that joy frequency. The only game of awareness, it's a game, but the only thing that the game of awareness gives to us is a choice. That choice is not really so evident. Choices exist in every moment, but they are not so evident when we are so busy looking outside at the story. The choices become immediately relevant and apparent to us. They become so obvious to us when we are able to turn all the fingers to ourselves to say, it's just my frequency that's creating these stories, and I can change my frequency. If you don't become aware in moment one, will your journey be lost? Will you be, completely lost? Will you never receive all of this awareness? You already have awareness. Maybe this is not the speed that is for you. Whatever speed is right for you, your awareness will still keep you on the path. You can't get lost. Now, see, this is the kind of story that you create, that no matter what I do, I cannot get lost. That's the kind of story, rather than, oh my God, now I got lost for 2 months. I didn't even do my releases. I didn't chant. I didn't take guidance. And, now I really got lost. Again, that being a story, and I'm simply telling you that story doesn't serve you so well. So create this story. Let this be your narrative, that now that you are aware, you can never be lost. You will always find your way back. And you will find that the more you put your focus on this truth, the more this will become your truth. This is it. Everything is a truth. Whatever we put our focus on, whatever story that we tell to ourselves, whatever story that we believe in, that is our truth. And I've talked about this so many times that so many of you that I meet have a narrative of, the world cannot be trusted. You cannot trust people in the world, and you have to make sure that, you are prudent about everything. You have to make sure that you give your money to the right people, do this, do that. Now, those are the kind of stories that we are telling ourselves. Those stories are steeped in mistrust. Whether that person is trustworthy or not. Sometimes, we think that somebody is not trustworthy and they come out to be trustworthy. And 2 days later, you're like, oh, wow, main to faltu mein hi, I was just out for no reason. Did I mistrust that guy? This fellow turned out to be quite trustworthy. Well, for sure, you could have trusted that guy and you didn't. And you say, okay, fine. Story is done. At least now I got whatever I wanted. I could have trusted him more. Yes, while this event might have played out in your favor, but what is it that you created in the meanwhile? What is it that you created for yourself when you didn't trust that guy? You, for yourself, created more frequencies, more energies of mistrust. If you created mistrust, you're inviting those kind of people. At any point in time when you say, okay, I'm done with creating mistrust, I'm going to trust people from now onwards. That could become your new story. And you could begin to trust your people. And then what will happen? Will everybody trustworthy come immediately to you? No, you still have mistrust in your frequencies. You've released some, and then you might have some that might show up at any point in time. When it shows up and you can see that somebody outside is not trustworthy, what will you do at this time? Will you put your trust on them, or will you go back to being prudent and being mistrusting? That's where the choice is. What story will you tell yourself? Let us say you trusted somebody and now they totally took your money or took your wife or whatever it is that they wanted to take away. Again, it becomes a point for creating new story. What story will you create? Will you create the story, I shouldn't have trusted him? Already that intuition of mine was telling me not to trust him, but I trusted him, and look where I am today. Where was that intuition based in? That intuition was completely your frequency of mistrust and fear. And you didn't pay more attention to that. I would say good for you. good for you, even in this moment, as whatever has to leave has left, whether your wife or whether your money or, whoever it is that has been taken away from you. Understand that it is your frequency that is creating these stories outside. So even this can become the moment of choice for you to create a new story. What would your new story be? As this leaves, this is the universe playing in my favor. As that one leaves, that too is the universe playing in my favor. As I don't get what I wanted, this is the universe playing in my favor. That story that the universe is playing in your favor, that story is going to give you so much more joy, so much more results and outcomes without putting a finger on it. Just simply blindly, the universe is playing in my favor at all times. Let this be your story at all times. We talk about it. We talk about, this is one of my favorite mantras, along with I am taken care of. I'm taken care of. I can break my back. I can have a health issue. I can have 10 health issues. As it happened, I was traveling to Australia, and one after the other, some of the other health issues kept happening. And through everything, in the evening, when I just kind of, cleared my day, I'm so exhausted. 5 of my, body parts are not moving, and this is happening, that is happening. And yet I would simply take a minute to be thankful, to say, this too is the universe playing in my favor. This too. I don't understand how that my body parts are not moving. So how's it playing in my favor? I don't understand. I don't need to understand, because I know that this is the universe playing in my favor. And from that space, answers will come, solutions will come, but from that space of fully trusting the universe playing in your favor. Stories we tell to each other, and then those become our truth. Okay, let's see some more chats. Who got something? Yeah. Okay, thank you, everybody. So cute, Sandeep. Thank you so much. Thank you for glowing so much. Okay. Somebody says to me, we need to be financially able to afford to let go of the deal. We need to be financially able to afford to let go of the deal. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Don't let go of the deal. Keep clinging to it. Keep clutching at it with whatever fears you have, that if this deal goes away, I will not be able to afford something. This is my only path to get what I need. And as you cling to it with so much fear attached to it, I will only just tell you one thing. Fear attracts fear. Joy attracts joy. And so as you cling to something with, oh, I'm not financially able. What is financially able? I have received this question several times from people, and I just laugh, because I go back to the time when I was not financially able. I was working in a bank. I was making some money. I was making a lot of money. For those days, I was working in a investment bank and foreign bank and all of that stuff. So making a lot of money. And then as I made a lot of that money, people would just come to me and ask for, like, oh, we need this money. Can we get a loan? And I would happily keep giving a loan to everybody. And I would have no money left at the end of it. But whatever was needed for me, let us say this month, I'm not going anywhere. I have no expenses or whatever. I only need 500 to 1,000 rupees. I'm talking about those days. So 500 to 1,000 rupees is all that I need for 10 days. And then in my salary account, only 3,000 or 4,000 would remain. And rest everything, there would be people who would come and ask for loans, and it would go away. My mom wanted that I should create at least some security for myself. So she said, you're working in a bank, you get loans at such low rates. Why don't you take a loan? And, everybody around you is taking loans. And I said, yeah, but I never have the money for down payment. She's like, you are making more money than everybody else. How is it that you are not able to collect 20% of the total loan amount? In those days, even, houses were really, really cheap. For about 10 lakhs to 15 lakhs, you could get some really nice property in Delhi. So my mother was like, how come everybody around you is able to take, able to save 20% that is going for the down payment from their salary itself? How come you can't save? And I said to my mother, every time somebody just lands up and I have to give the money to them. And so I've just given loans to people. And she was like, what's wrong with you? You should have some security. I was 25 or 26 years old then. And there is this, I still remember the line because I didn't speak it. I didn't even know where that line came from. I wasn't even thinking about it in that way, but it must have been in my energy field. That abundance must have been in my energy field, because I said to my mother, saying, Mom, I think my account is the account, is the account for God. I think God sends money to my account for whoever needs it, but He gives me a lot of commission for just doing His work. So I'm the authorized signatory for God's account. That was the exact line that I said. I think I'm the authorized signatory for God's account, because God sends money, but He also sends people who need that money. But He gives me so much commission that if in a month I need all my salary, nobody comes to take a loan. I need all my salary, let us say, to go for a vacation or for something or the other. The money will keep staying in my account. And then when I don't need that salary, it simply goes away. So I never have the money for putting into, a down payment for a house. I didn't feel the need that I should have a house as a security. I didn't feel the need. My mother felt the need. Was she wrong? Was I wrong? Both of us were simply coming from different frequencies. My mother came from fear frequency, saying that, we must have some security. We need that because we might run short. But my frequency, even though I didn't know it then, I didn't know these names, I didn't know that these are frequencies. But as I say, I'm always very thankful that I came with this frequency in this life. I must have let go of my fears in another life. I must have worked and I must have received this fear frequency away. I must have put this fear frequency away and tuned into abundance. And that is why I already sat in the abundance frequency when I was 26, 27, with this feeling of I am taken care of. I don't need to save money because I'm taken care of. The frequency is of abundance. Did I have money in my bank account? Absolutely not. But the frequency I sat in was of abundance. Did I get taken care of? Absolutely. Did I save a lot of money? No, I didn't. But I was able to let go. As you say, we can't let go of the money till we can afford it only. But I was able to let go of the money itself, because money is simply a tool for bringing you to lack. But it brought me to abundance even when I didn't have. Did I fall into short, fall short of money? Oh, absolutely. I was in France many years later. I still hadn't saved up any money. I went for a second MBA. But as my MBA was finishing, as it was completing, it is INSEAD and it's in France, and it's a global top 5 MBA business schools. And I had, put everything that I had saved. I took loans and I said, okay, let me just again go for another MBA. I went for another MBA. But as the MBA was finishing, September 11, the 9/11 happened in the US, and all the top largest companies, the investment banks, the consulting companies who come and pay a lot of money, all of them didn't come to campus at all. They didn't even come to INSEAD. And INSEAD was one of the top 5. INSEAD is in the same category as the Harvards and Yales and all of that. So, but they didn't come that year. And small companies came, some small companies came. And because we were 600 of us applying for jobs, to every job that came on the campus, there were 100 people interviewing. I sat and I looked at the whole scenario and I said, okay, everybody at least has parents who can send them money, but I had taken all the money away with this MBA program. We had a house. My father had created that house and we were able to sell it. And all the money from that house, I just picked it up and I said, okay, I'm taking the money for the second MBA. And my mother said, yeah, go. And so that is how I had the money for that MBA. But I told her, I said, when I come back, I'm going to have so much, because this is like top 5 schools. I'll have so many job offers. And that's how it normally happened, except that this was September 2001, which is when September, 9/11 happened. And there were no jobs. And every single day, my friends would collect together and they would be like, oh my God, what is going to happen? We don't have money and this is going to happen and that we won't get jobs. I actually didn't resonate with sitting in fear. And so I stopped meeting with many of those people. Many of my friends who were constantly worried about money. I was the one with the least amount of money. I had $12 in my account at one point in time, and we'll come to that later. I was the one with least amount of money in my bank account. I was the one who didn't have money to go back home to India. I didn't have money to come back home. And yet I didn't want to sit in a place where everybody was sitting with worry. I didn't understand it then, but again, the frequency of abundance doesn't resonate with the frequency of worry. So I was sitting in abundance. I didn't know it, but I was sitting in the frequency of abundance. I didn't want to sit in the frequency of worry and lack. So I stopped, but just something like, it doesn't make me feel good sitting with these people. I said that to myself, and I stopped going out with those friends who were constantly worried. Many of us were worried. And what did I start to do? Every time thoughts of worry would come to me, I would simply just say to myself, saying, I don't have a father. My father's already gone up. He will sit over there and he will see that his daughter is right next to going hungry tomorrow. He'll figure out something. What I didn't know it then, but I was playing in the frequency of faith. I had no money in my bank account. And yet I was like, okay, I don't have money, but Papa's gone up money, the father frequency, but I didn't know that he was the father frequency then. He had just died a very, very premature death. He had died when he was 53 years old. And it was a few years that he had died. But this is the story. Look how beautiful. This is the story that I said to myself whenever worry came in. The story that I spoke to myself was, he's gone up and he's with Shiva, and they'll be able to see that I have no money to eat anything tomorrow. I have no money to go home, but they know, so they will figure out a way. So I was sitting in the frequency of abundance. I was sitting in the frequency of faith without knowing that those were my frequencies. What happened? There was a day when I got up in the morning, I had $12 in my account. $12 means there is going to be nothing to eat by the time dinner time comes around. And as I was looking at my bank balance, and I was like, wow. And I looked at the bank balance, and a call came from one of my friends. I used to be in Deutsche Bank in a very, very good job. And she was somebody who was working under me at that time. But she called and she says, oh, you know what? I'm in Paris today. And I'm going to come over to you. And when I come over, let's have such a good time. We'll just go everywhere. We'll do this. We'll do all the masti. Everybody always knew I was the party girl. And they said, we'll do all the masti. I hung up the phone, and then I was just sitting and saying, wow, from where will I find the money? I didn't want to take a loan. I had a problem saying, how can I take a loan when I don't know when I'm going to be able to return the loan? So I had fear taking in a loan. And I wasn't working on my energies at that time. I didn't know fear frequency versus abundance. I just had a tiny bit of fear and a lot of abundance frequency that I tuned into. That is my core frequency. But I thought about it and I said, okay, let her come. Then we will figure out. I'll just let her know that I have no money and we can't go to Paris. We can't do anything. I'll just let her know. Within the next 1.5 hours, I got a call from the company that I had been interviewing with. I'd had 5 interviews with them. There were 100 people who had been interviewing, and I had moved forward. And we had come to final 2 people for 1 job. 100 people had not got the job, but now we were final 2 people. One of the persons, that other person, had more relevant skill set. They had the exact same skills that were required for the job. I didn't have the exact same skill set, but here I was, one of the people, and he was the other person. As we, as time went on for the past 2 weeks, I had heard nothing from the company. The company had gone completely silent. And I said, okay, that job must have gone to that other person. But right now, as I was waiting for that colleague of mine to come in to meet with me, a call came and they said, can we have your fax number, please? We need to send you your offer letter. So indeed, Shiva and my father, who had gone up there, they took care of me. And now I totally understand how, but they took care of me because I sat in faith frequency, because I sat in abundance frequency. When you say to me, you can only do this when I need to be financially able to let go of the deal, you're already sitting in lack frequency. The lack frequency will continue to play in one way or another. There was a time, and this is another incident, but I remember that when my father passed away and I was still in India at that time, I hadn't gone for my second interview, I hadn't gone for my second MBA. But there was a time when we had no money, and then it had been 1 year to my dad passing away. And I told my mom, I said, you know what, Dad would always take us out for one beautiful holiday every year. So let's just simply take that holiday. And my mother said, you're the only earning member in the family. We have no money. We have no savings. My father was a writer. He was also the press advisor to prime ministers and presidents, but he didn't take any money for that. And he was a writer. And as a writer, as a Hindi writer, he had no money. So mom said, you're the only person who is earning. And, why do you want to spend all of that money? We might need that money for anything. I don't think I want to go for a holiday. And I said to her, Mom, she said, we must save the money for a moment of need. We must save for a rainy day. We must save for a moment of need. We must save for a rainy day. As she said that, again, my dialogue was this, Mom, when there is a rainy day, when there is a true rainy day, whatever we have will not be enough. And that is when it will be called a rainy day. If I need 5 lakh of rupees and I have 25, it's not a rainy day. I have that money, it will simply go from one account to another and the thing is done. When I have 5 and I need 25 crores, now that's a rainy day, because that is when I cannot collect everything. And no matter what I do, it is not going to be enough. That is a rainy day. Or otherwise, the rainy day will be when we have all the money in the world and we can't do anything with it. I saw that happen. There was some money at least to put my father through the hospital, but he didn't need a hospital. He just went like that. We couldn't do anything. We didn't even have time to take out money from the bank for anything. Money wasn't needed. That was a rainy day when the money didn't play any piece. But here it is for you. Money is the source, the trigger for creating lack frequency in you. I started my conversation by saying money is a trigger for everything. It can create joy. It can create lack. It can create resentment. It can create disappointment. For you, as I read it, the first thing, okay, only when I have money can I then let go. Well, you can try not clinging and understanding that you are taken care of. If that becomes your story, you will play in the frequency of faith. And then guess what? Whatever story you put your faith into, that becomes your truth. If you can start believing, if you can start changing your frequency, your story to, I am taken care of. I give many, many simple ways to change your story. And the first one of them is to come into my frequency itself. If you don't know how to, I have a meditation. You can simply just search on YouTube to say frequency of Meenal, meditation to tune into the frequency of Meenal. Because in my frequency, there is so much abundance, whether I was aware or unaware, the abundance was always there. Now, because I'm aware of the frequency of abundance, I can grow it. When even the tiniest of fear comes, I can look at the fear as a frequency and say, okay, fear's work is done. I can tune more and more into abundance. It's a choice that I have because I am aware. So you can also become that aware. What do you need to do? Well, in my frequency, that information already exists. That answer already exists. All that you need to do is to tune yourself into my frequency. And that too, it's a meditation, which is 13 minutes. You can run it several times in a day. You won't get overdose of it. And it'll just simply keep being available for you. This is how unaware work happens. Whenever you are in the middle of fear frequencies, you will sit in fear. Your energies will tune into fear. If you are already playing frequencies of abundance in your environment, now that frequency also becomes available for you to tune into, even in unawareness. So even in unawareness, as you begin to tune into more and more of abundance, your thoughts, your stories will come more and more from abundance rather than coming from lack. The more you sit in abundance, the more the universe outside will show you the exact same frequency. It will play it back at you. And so money is not the place where, you have more money and then you will feel contentment. The story is actually the reverse. You feel contentment outside, everything will line up to make you experience more contentment. This entire story of what I mentioned about being in gratitude frequency, again, a story that I've repeated 100 times, but it comes to tell you because you say, when I have money, then I can let go of the deal. I didn't ever make so much money, but then once we moved to India, we were in the US, me and my husband. When we moved to India, we had about 4 crores of our own. And then we liked an apartment of 7 crores. So we put in all our savings into that apartment. We also took a bank loan and we repaid the bank loan over a few years. And we were able to get that 7 crore apartment. And then one day in guidance, when I received that give away that apartment to somebody and the name of the person also I received in guidance, well, I don't have 7 crores. I can maybe give her 25,000. That was not where the guidance was. The guidance was give her that apartment. I'm staying in a rented place, but when the guidance came that, what was my reaction? My reaction didn't come from fear that if I give this away, I will have nothing left for myself, which is exactly what you are coming from, that if I give something away, I won't have enough left for myself. But that was not my problem because I know that money is simply a trigger and it will get created. If I create it in joy, it will bring me joy. If I give it away in joy, it will bring me joy because joy is the frequency. The money is not any frequency. The money is the frequency with which we give it, with which we receive it. The story underneath, the emotions underneath are what create the frequencies. So we gave it away. However, it wasn't that I completely didn't have to do anything on myself. I had to work on judgments because I thought, what is my husband going to say? Because my husband will sit with judgments of, how can you be so stupid? Because we only have this one house that we are going to retire in. How can you just give it away? Because guidance says so. How can you give it away? So he will say that. Did he say that already? No. But I sat in the frequency of fear, not to do with money, but to do with what my husband will say. So what did I do? I worked on my frequency of fear. I released the frequency of fear. I came into the abundance frequency. I came into the joy frequency. And then I asked my husband, oh, by the way, we have this one apartment. It's all of our life savings. And can I give it away? But because I had worked on my energy and I was working from oneness, and the first answer that my husband gave in 30 seconds really was yes. Is that even normal? Again, when we started out, I said there is nothing called normal. The frequency that I am sitting in, that is normal for me. I was sitting in the frequency of abundance. So therefore, the energy that I'm giving out is abundance. The answer that I will receive will come from that same abundance. Whatever is normal for me, you take a look at what is normal for you. In the last webinar, you had said that we don't really release our present frequency. We just simply become conscious of it. Yeah. Have you become conscious of your frequency that, oh, right now I'm operating from fear? What do you do in that next moment when the fear frequency, the finger is pointed here? The next moment simply just says, to me, at least that's what it says, it's just a frequency. That's it. If it's just a frequency, I can shift it. The release happens automatically. The word release, some of you consider the word release as something that we have to run away from. I release it and I run away. So that is what I was saying, that we can't run away. We don't need to run away because it's just a frequency. I already answered this for you, saying we don't, everything is just an experience. So what if you don't become that aware? It's okay. It is still just an experience. We are not running away from anything. The release word can be substituted. Once you become a little bit aware, the release word can be substituted for awareness. In my 30-day program, do I use the word release? Oh, yes, all the time. Because when you are coming so much embedded in the body space, over there, if I say to you, it's okay to sit with the frequency of anger, it's okay to do this, it's okay to do that, and be aware of it, you will not even understand it. And so the first few times while you are embedded in a body form, when you're looking at, okay, I hold a lot of anger. How do I deal with this? Oh my God, I hold so much fear. How do I deal with that? When you think of yourself as embedded in a frequency and you think of yourself as that, I am fearful. Now you've defined yourself as one frequency. I am so fearful. I am such an angry person. You've defined yourself as one frequency. You are sitting in a very, very limited story of yours. So to break that, I tell you, release that frequency. Release that frequency. When you begin your work, and then I say to you, simply the observation of every frequency. And then to understand everything is just a frequency. It's just a channel that we are playing. Can I change that channel? Oh, yeah. Can I change that channel now? Yeah, but it's not changing. I'm still experiencing a little bit of fear. Okay, I'll change it now. Even if the fear is there, fear is just a frequency. Why am I afraid of fear? I'm holding the remote in my hand. I'm ready to change the channel. If the channel is playing for another 10 minutes, what's my rush? I can change the frequency anytime. And so from that place of understanding that I've looked at it, I know what frequency I'm sitting in. From that place, I can change the frequency. The changing of the frequency is my power. It's my power. And so I can change the frequency. And that's what I meant by saying that it just becomes, as we become conscious of it, whatever needs to be released gets released, because we are no longer running away from anything. We create the stories in awareness or in unawareness, and our stories create us. And that's the whole purpose of this webinar, saying as your stories are creating you, only when you are aware, you can have the brush in your hand to make strokes as you feel like it. I always tell to people, the energy field and the body experiencer. This is 1%, but this is the one that's experiencing everything that the 99% energy holds. As that energy holds sorrow, it will create events outside that will make us sit more and more in sorrow. As it holds lack, it'll keep creating outside events and situations where you can experience more of the lack. And how will you be able to even look at the energy field unless you are looking within? And so the first part of it being becoming aware, and then we become aware, we can make it to any story as we please. The story that I enjoy the most is turning everything to gratitude. Even when, oh, now who else is unmuted? Sangeeta. Okay, all right. So even when we do the smallest, tiniest of things, when we pay bills and we are looking at the bills, oh my God, there are so many bills and so many to be paid. And this one I do this one I do that. The bills are there because you have enjoyed some services. You've enjoyed electricity, you've enjoyed car, you've enjoyed a home, you've enjoyed some good food. And for that, the bills are there. You can either be in the story of, oh God, these bills are there every month, and I'm always just struggling from one bill payment to the other. Or you can change the story to, thank you so much for letting me enjoy yet another month of electricity, water, house, etc., etc. The action that is going out, payment of the bill, exactly the same. This way or another, the bill is going to get paid. However, the energy that you hold will depend on the story that you are telling to yourself. And that is why change your story. Change your story. You sit in gratitude, more stuff will happen that will bring you to a grateful place. You will be more grateful because the universe will do so many more things to make you feel even more grateful. Okay, I think we reached the end of all comments. All good? Paint the town red dialogue. Yes. How much paint can I buy from $12? That was the dialogue I spoke to myself when my friend said, I'm coming, let's go and paint the town red. Yeah. All right, everybody. So here, today, more than a meditation, today we are kind of going to put our aware thought on the story that is sitting with us the most on a daily basis. Just simply send feelers out to the universe, and whatever thought comes in about a story that bothers you a lot, a story that keeps coming, if there is any such story like that, where you think that the universe is not playing in your favor, where you see people receive more than what you are receiving, when you play in jealousy, when you play in resentment, if you have any such stories, it could be with money, it could be to do with, your body, it could be any story that has got you not in gratitude. So let's look at any story. And so simply take a deep breath in and release. And as you release your next breath, I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. And now simply throwing out that question into the universe. What story do I need to look into today? It could be something so small as a bill payment. It could be something really, really large, like the selection of a life partner. It could be anything, but the story that's occupying your mind space and the one where you are not in gratitude. Whatever the story is, whatever the actors are, whoever the actors are, whatever the situation is, bring everybody to your mind right now. These are all the actors that you have hired to play in your movie. These are all the actors that you are right now going to sign out the checks and say, thank you very much. but your role, I'm going to finish in this next moment. Your role to play out these stories to me, I'm going to finish in the next moment. And so call the actors there. This is your movie. You've employed all of these actors, could be spouses, could be friends, could be boyfriends, girlfriends. They could be your professors, they could be your teachers, they could be your employees, they could be your children. All of these actors that you have employed to keep showing you some story or another. And whatever stories that are getting you to engage your mind space right now, call them in. Call all the actors in. Look around towards the actors and simply say thank you. Thank you for playing all of these roles for me. Thank you. You participated in my movies. So many movies you created, all of them blockbusters. So engaging. I totally got engaged in the movies. I even forgot that I was the one that handed over the script to you. But now in this moment, I am Meenal. I'm in complete awareness of all the stories around me. And I'm in complete awareness of the Shiva that I am, the creator of all of these stories that I am. I am the creator. I am the destroyer. I engaged you and you did a wonderful, wonderful job. And thank you so much for being able to show me every frequency that I hold in my energy field. I hold so many frequencies I would have never known, but you showed them to me. Some of you showed me rejection. Some of you showed me disappointment. Some of you showed me love. And all of these simply my frequencies. And in this moment, I thank you all for the beautiful roles that you played. And I let you go. I am stopping, finishing, completing all my stories in this moment. This is my moment of awareness. And all that it takes to complete any story is one moment of awareness. And so every story, and as we call it, every karma underneath it, all the energy underneath it, all of them simply being signed out from in this moment. This moment of now is my complete moment of awareness. I, the creator, I, the destroyer. I, my energy field, the source. And every frequency that I love to play in. Every frequency that I love to play in. Releasing all my judgments towards the stories. Releasing all judgments towards the frequencies. This is a positive story. This is not a positive story. In this moment of complete awareness, there is right now no story. The mind is blank. The mind is empty. The mind is blank. The mind is empty. This moment of now, completely blank. All the actors have left in the energy for this moment. And now, as you take your next deep breath in, only one story to be created. The story that will stick with you forever and ever. The entire universe is playing in my favor. This universe and every universe is playing in my favor. Every frequency I allow because every frequency is playing in my favor. And now, with renewed roles for all the actors, I invite them back into my life. Because no matter what they do, every actor is playing in my favor. In my favor, the results, the outcomes don't bother me. This outcome or that outcome. It doesn't matter because I know that the outcome is playing in my favor. I look at all the actors again. They've walked back in. Each of them, someday or another, will show you a story. But this time, this awareness will be with you. Because you know what? You're now here. You can't be lost. This is your story, that you can never be lost. You will be aware, and that awareness will constantly bring you only to that one story. The whole universe, every actor in my universe, every particle of this universe is playing in my favor. Repeat this line to yourself a few times. The universe is playing in my favor. Repeat it. This is the only story that I need to know. In the frequency of Meenal, where this knowing already exists so deeply, this knowing is right now being received by me in the energies. This is no longer knowledge. This is the knowing in Meenal frequency, and I am sitting in Meenal frequency. I am Meenal. I know it, that the whole universe is playing in my favor. I know it. Sit with this knowing. Remind yourself this, really. If this is the only story that you can remember, you don't need any other story. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani. Enjoy the story. Enjoy the creations through this new story. Okay, everybody. Lots and lots of love. Bye all. See you guys another day.
Love you, Ma.
Lots of love.